to be the best to ever play the game has motivated me. I want to be the best player in the world.
In this video, we want to look at LeBron James and his rise to success. One thing for certain is that as long as he's playing basketball, his teams are always in the running for a chance of winning because he is one of the best players ever, and that's not changing anytime soon. So allow us to show you LeBron James, then and now. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. The early days of King James. Let's start at the beginning and work our way up, shall we? LeBron James was born on December 30th, 1984 in Akron, Ohio, and from the moment of his birth, his connection to Ohio was strong, even if his life within it wasn't always the best. For example, his mother gave birth to him when she was only 16, and his father was a criminal who was never in his life. While James was growing up, life was often a struggle for the family, as they moved from apartment to apartment in the seedier neighborhoods of Akron, while Gloria, his mother, struggled to find steady work. She was so concerned with how LeBron would grow up that she let him move into the home of a youth basketball coach so he would have a positive influence growing up. A very good move, given what his future would hold. His basketball roots. James began playing organized basketball in the 5th grade. He later played Amateur Athletic Union, AAU, basketball for the Northeast Ohio Shooting Stars. The team enjoyed success on a local and national level, led by James and his friends Sean Cotton, Drew Joyce III, and Willie McGee. The group dubbed themselves the Fab Four and promised each other that they would attend high school together. After attending St. Vincent St. Mary, he went and achieved fame all over the world for his dynamic play and leading the school to victory time and time again, which earned him all sorts of accolades and achievements. Throughout his senior year, James and the Fighting Irish traveled around the country to play a number of nationally ranked teams, and many of those games were on the ESPN family of networks. Eventually, he was dubbed the Chosen One and destined to go and change the NBA. They were right. Cleveland, Part 1. In the 2003 NBA Draft, LeBron James was the #1 overall pick and went to his home state team via the Cleveland Cavaliers. Admittedly, the first few years were a good showing by LeBron, but not the Cavs. However, in his 3rd year, he was finally able to get to the playoffs and help elevate his team to true glory, including in the 2006-2007 season, getting the NBA Finals for the first time. However, he was swept by the Spurs, and that was his only appearance in the NBA Finals with Cleveland in that first run. And that is a key part of his story, for the simple reason that LeBron was able to have a team built around him to achieve victory. Year after year passed, and eventually, LeBron made the decision. In 2010, LeBron James became a free agent, and many were hoping and praying that he was indeed going to be back with Cleveland. But rumors were swirling that his friends in Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh were going to team up in Miami and wanted him to go and join them. Enter the decision, one of the most controversial pieces of television in history, and it was in that special that LeBron decided to take my talents to South Beach. He was leaving Cleveland to go and form a super team with his friends. But how would that go? The Miami Heat. After teaming up with Bosh and Wade, the pressure was on LeBron to win that ring, else be disgraced. And unfortunately for him, their first attempt at the finals ended with him losing, despite them having a 2-0 lead against the lesser Dallas Mavericks. The following 2 years were different stories though, as LeBron again led the Heat to the finals and won back-to-back titles against the Thunder and the Spurs, though most admit that they got lucky against the Spurs. The following year, they went back to the finals again for a rematch against the Spurs and lost in 6. But he had gotten his 2 rings. What was there left to do? Well, Cleveland again. Yep, he went home, and while his first season with the team wasn't the result he wanted, in the 2015-2016 season, he led Cleveland to their first ever NBA title, finally completing the prophecy and allowing himself to breathe as no one could truly say anything about him again. And he didn't leave Cleveland right after the ring. He wanted to do it again with them and even had a big finals rivalry with the Golden State Warriors. But the Warriors got the last laugh, beat them 2 straight times, and even gave a sweep to LeBron, which was all the motivation for him to go to the Lakers. LeBron and the Lakers is in many ways a match made in NBA heaven, and when he got to the Lakers, all the hype was on them. So imagine their surprise when it was one of LeBron's worst seasons ever. Yep, that happened, and it was a circus the whole NBA year because of it. However, even with the pandemic, his second year with the Lakers was different. They got Anthony Davis, and in the bubble playoffs defied the odds and the layoff to win the title against the Miami Heat. And while 3 hasn't been the best in terms of injuries to LeBron, they did make the playoffs, and many expect them to make a deep run once more. Life beyond basketball. LeBron James has become such a big star in the world of basketball that he's gone and done all sorts of things outside of it, including investing his considerable wealth into various businesses and practices. He's started his own clothing line, he's created his own school in Cleveland for underage kids, he's the owner of a pizza chain known as Blaze's Pizza, and arguably, most importantly, he went and opened up his own entertainment business that has created all sorts of media over the years, including TV shows, specials, documentaries, and yes, movies. You might know of some, like Trainwreck, or how he's going to be starring in the upcoming Space Jam: A New Legacy, which many think is a choice. Although it should be noted that many feel one of the reasons he went to the Los Angeles Lakers after his second stint in Cleveland was because he wanted to go and be in LA to expand his brand. Make of that what you will. His legacy. Yes, we acknowledge that LeBron James isn't done with basketball just yet, and that's fine. He likely will be able to play for another few years at this level of play before he decides to hang it up. But we can still look at what he's done and what he was able to achieve overall, and how things are shaping up to gauge his legacy. Because as of right now, there's no doubt that he's one of the greatest NBA players of all time. His stats minus the rings already prove that. Then, when you add in the 4 rings across 3 teams, you get an all-time legend. But the question that everyone wants to know is he the GOAT? To some, the answer is yes, because he is the greatest in the current generation. However, for those who look at the whole of basketball and how he had accomplished his NBA Finals victories, you could argue that he isn't as great as certain other players in the GOAT argument, including Michael Jordan. Yes, the Jordan versus LeBron argument is the one that is creating all the buzz in the world of the NBA. Because if LeBron continues on his path and gets either 1 or 2 more rings, he'd be equal to MJ in certain ways. But is that enough to be better than MJ? Some would say no, because LeBron went to super teams while Jordan had a team built around him. Jordan also faced the tougher crop of superstars and teams during his time in the league. In the end, though, it honestly doesn't matter, because LeBron is the best of this generation by a fair margin. We're speaking in the overall sense, of course. And that's what most people are gauging. So his legacy is helping elevate the NBA to a level that it hasn't seen since Jordan. And no matter how many rings he gets, he'll be in the Hall of Fame when he's done. What do you think of this look at LeBron James and his career in the NBA and how his life has evolved through his basketball fame? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.